Hello everyone, my name is Kate and I'm glad to see you in the next part of Unit 8. Make yourself at home. Did you remember the conversation between me and Sean in the previous lesson where we talked about his house? I used quite a lot of grammar points that you find some familiar and some quite strange. In this lesson, we're going to have a closer look at them. By the end of this lesson, we can find the answers to these following questions. Number 1, how is the passive present simple different from the passive past simple? Number 2, what's the difference between so and because? And are there connectors? Number 3, what is a prepositional phrase? And number 4, how to form an imperative sentence. So, for the first question, we'll look at the passive voice. So, what is the passive voice? Well, in lesson 1 of this unit, when I asked Sean about the furniture shop, he told me where it was and its name by saying, the shop is called Tiny Space. And when he talked about the picture that a pen pal gave him, he used, it was painted by him as well. What do they have in common? Let's take a look at the structure. They all start with a subject. In this case, the subjects are objects, the shop, and the picture. Next is the verb to be, followed by a past participle. Sounds familiar, right? It's the structure of the passive voice. These sentences are the 2 examples of passive present simple voice and passive past simple voice. The only main difference between them is the tense. In the first sentence, it's a simple present, so the verb be becomes is. In the second sentence, it's something that happened in the past, so the verb be becomes was. Let's have a look at some other examples where I will change them into passive ones. Let's look at number 1. The main verb is built. Obviously, it's a past tense verb. So, to change it into passive voice, we need to, number 1, put this house to the beginning. Number 2, add was before the past participle of Bill, which is also built. And number 3, keep the a long time ago part. So it will be, this house was built a long time ago. As for number 2, always puts, signals us that it's the simple present tense. After we applied the same rule, we've got the flower vases are always put next to the window. We need are here because flower vases are plural nouns. Similarly for number 3, divided is a past tense verb, so when we change it into a passive sentence, it should become, the apartment was divided into 4 main rooms. Alright, that's all about how to form passive voice in both tenses. Let's do a small task to see if you understand the rule. Take out a small piece of paper and try to form these sentences into passive voice. I'll give you some minutes. Let's check our answers. For number 1, 2, 5, and 7, they are past tense sentences. So we need to change the verb be into was or were. The subject in number 1, 2, and 5 was singular, so we used was. The one in number 7 were plural, so we must use were. For number 3, 4, 6, and 8, the tense is a simple present, so you can see that the verb be is E and are. That's all about passive voice. Let's move on with another grammar point that will help you to speak and write better. It's linking words or conjunctions. So, to quickly review what conjunctions are and how they help us in using English, let's have a look at these 3 sentences. Can you see the words in bold? And, but, because are the most common conjunctions in English. Other conjunctions are or, so, and although. First, we'll have a closer look at these 3 first. For the first sentence, the word and is to connect the 2 ideas or join 2 parts of the sentence. Instead of saying, the house is large, the house is also beautiful. Using and can help to make a simple yet easy to follow sentence. For the next sentence, the word but introduce 2 facts that don't support or agree with each other. Here, the 2 events are visiting a friend's house and studying at home. For the last sentence, it's pretty easy and common to see. Because is used to give reasons for something. In this case, the reason for her inability to join the party was that she was sick. In general, conjunctions can be used to connect items which have the same grammatical type, such as words, phrases, or clauses. Let's have a look at this table to understand how to use them. Pause the video if you need to. It's exercise time. Now, look at the sentences. Each sentence has a blank. Let's choose the correct conjunction to fill in. I'll give you 3 minutes. Ready, set, go. Now, let's check the answers. Number 1 and 4. We need to put "and" into the blanks because we are adding information. Number 2. We need to put "because" into the blank to give reasons. Number 3, 7, and 9. We need "but" because the later piece of information contrasts the first mentioned one. Number 5 is "although" because in this case, it doesn't matter how small the house is. He finds it cozy and loves it. Number 8 is "or" because it gives us alternatives to choose. Number 6 and 10 is "so" because it gives us the result of something. Moving on, we'll review some prepositions of place. The theme of this unit is about house and home, and when we talk about homes, we need to talk about its location. Let's do this small task to see how good you are with prepositions of place. I'll be back in a few minutes. Let's check the answers. There's one pair of prepositions that confuses many English learners, and they are "in front of" and "opposite." In front of means part of a building, object, or person's body that faces forward and seen first, while opposite means being in the position that directly faces the other thing. Beside those prepositions, we also have by, under, and out of. Have you ever heard of by the river, after dinner, or out of stock? These phrases both have prepositions at the front and a noun phrase to follow. These phrases are called prepositional phrases. These phrases help us to locate the object that is being referred to. For example, when saying by the river, we know that something is the river, not somewhere else. Here are some common cases that people often use prepositional phrases. First, is when they talk about places. Some examples are at a party, by the river, or opposite the library. Or here are some examples of using preparation phrases to talk about time. After the party, during the first semester, or before the holidays. Finally, is a special case where preparational phrases have idiomatic meanings. Take the phrase under construction as an example. It means being built. However, if we separate it into two words, the meaning of each word is quite far from being built. Let's take a look at some special preparational phrases. Out of stock means unavailable for immediate sale. On sale means available to buy. In or on time means being done when it should and is not late. Alright, before moving on, let's do this exercise where you'll have to fill in the correct preparation so that the sentence makes sense. I'll give you 1 minute and 30 seconds. Start now! Now, let's check the answers one by one. Number 1, at the first glance, we can see that there's something going on with the house. Possibly that it's being constructed or repaired. So the preposition to fill in is under. Number 2, it's after because the sentence gives us information about what happened after that. Number 3, it could be either opposite or by. Let's read on and decide later. Number 4, the speaker and her sister has to travel a long distance to get to each other's place, which means they can't live near each other. So it's on opposite sides of the city. Back to number 3, the answer can only be by the river. Number 5, the answer is on because the top of the fridge is a surface. These two sentences look a bit strange, right? Normally, it all starts with a subject, a noun, or a pronoun. Why is there no subject in those sentences? Are they wrong? In fact, those sentences are grammatically correct. They are called imperative clauses. Imperative clauses starts with the base form of a verb instead of a subject. For example, be as in be quiet, or make as in make yourself at home. Be and make are called imperatives. Imperatives are used mainly to tell people what to do something. It can be an instruction, an order, or a suggestion. Let's have a look at these examples. It's pretty easy to make an imperative. All we need to do is put the base form of the verb at the beginning of the sentence. If it's a negative sentence, let's put do not or don't at the beginning, then the base form. For example, if you want your friends to feel comfortable at your house, you should say, make yourself at home. Or if you don't want a friend to do something, you might say, don't go that way. All right, let's do a small exercise to see how good you are with imperative. Pause the video if you need to. I'll be back in a few minutes. Here are the answers. Did you have them all correct? Don't forget to change the form of the verb into base form, and if it's a positive sentence, put the verb at the beginning. And if you want to tell someone not to do something, let's put don't at the beginning. Don't worry if your answers are slightly different from mine. The focus is that you understand how to use imperative. Before we end our lesson, let's do a small quiz to see how well you remember all the grammar points we covered in this lesson. Let's read each sentence and fill in the blanks. 2 minutes starting now. go through each blank one by one. Number 1, we can see the missing word is a verb and the castle can't build itself. So of course, it's a passive voice sentence. But what tense is it? A long time ago shows us that it's simple past. So it was built. Number 2, we have 2 complete clauses. One is a reason, one is a result. So to connect them, we need a conjunction that shows reason. That's why we need the because here. Number 3, the speaker is telling someone not to buy the villa because it's unlikely that they have the money to buy such an expensive house. So we need an imperative. And because silly is an adjective, so the answer is don't be. Number 4, let's guess the meaning of the sentence. We can't go that way because perhaps the road is being repaired. It's likely that we need a prepositional phrase. So what preposition can go with repair and has the meaning? And it's under. Number 5, we can see the missing word is a verb and the alarm can't set itself. So of course, it's a passive voice sentence. What tense is it? I think it's simple present because we have every morning. It's a habit, so it's is set. Number 6, the speaker is telling someone to wait for him. And there's no subject at front. So it's an imperative clause. The answer is, give me a minute, please. Number 7, let's first guess the meaning of the sentence. The speaker wants to buy a pair of shoes, but it's not available to buy in a store. In English, there is a phrase to describe this situation, which is out of stock. So the answer is out. Number 8, we have 2 complete clauses. So to connect them, we need a conjunction. We can see that the first clause and the second clause seems to contrast each other. And the blank is at the beginning, so it's although. That's all for today's lesson. Oh wait, we still have some questions need answering at the beginning of the lesson. So, the first question, the difference is a tense. We should pay attention to the tense to change the verb be correctly. For number 2, so is to give results, while because is to give reasons. For number 3, it's a phrase that consists of a preposition and a noun. It's mainly used after verb be. For number 4, it's quite simple. Change the verb into base form and put it at the beginning of the sentence. Put be or don't be at front if the next word is an adjective. Alright, I hope that after this lesson, you can apply these grammar points into daily use efficiently. Goodbye and see you in upcoming episodes.